Hey guys, we're super excited to be here at the LA Fit Expo. It's our third year in a row. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs. And we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
V-Rush Vapes, the world's first pre-workout vape.
When you're asleep, they're just getting started. John Romano, Dave Palumbo, After Hours.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of After Hours. I'm here with John Romano. We're trying something a little different today. We're trying Zoom because, John, I am sick of Skype. I want to just throw Skype out the window and flush it down the toilet. I predict Skype will be the next BlackBerry.
I believe you. Rich and I use. What's the matter?
Go ahead, go, talk. I'm hand signaling to Tyler. We have we're like two deaf people. We hand signal each other.
I thought you were telling me I didn't have my mic on or something.
No.
No, Rich and I use Skype when we can record Fitness, Fame, and Fortune, and it sucks. It's the worst shit ever, man. I don't know how the hell that you get that robot voice, it goes in and out, and
Skype is now you have to. It's that Microsoft seems to run the whole show there. You have to sign in, and they make you verify your account 400 times. To be honest with you, I've been locked out of 2 Skype accounts. I don't even know how to get back into it because they got emails that I got to verify with. I don't even know the passwords to. So, in today's day and age, it's about simplicity. You're supposed to make things easier to use. When I think back of how we did the original Heavy Muscle TV show, do you remember how we would shoot it on 3 cameras and then try to sync the 3 cameras after in post-production? It was a nightmare. It was and we did it because you couldn't do it any other way.
Oh, there's no other way to do it.
And we were when I would put up a show, when a show would be over and I'd get the thing edited, it would take me 16 hours. And I put it up. I would be so proud because it took so much work to get this 1-hour show up. Now when we finish recording, we're done. It's up. So.
Whereas Bleckman would just post it.
Yeah.
Remember all the raw footage he had. We had like these beautiful videos, and Bleckman had
raw footage. It's like
terrible.
When I was in shop class in junior high school, we had to take print shop. And the I guess the assignment they gave us is we had to make our own business card. Now, back in the day, to make a business card, for those of you guys who are too young and don't know, and by the way, Tyler, this thing is still blinking, so it's probably going to die, the camera. Okay, it does. I know usually the red light goes off, but it's okay. Back in the day, you would have to set individual type. So you'd have to get these little metal things, and each little metal thing, if you think of it as a key on a typewriter, it was like a separate letter, and you'd have to. So if I wanted to, this guy Benji Diamond and I had a snow shoveling business on my block, so we were going to make cards. So I made business cards, and I had to lay out every one of our letters of every one of our names and the snow shoveling business thing, and it took like 8 weeks to set this thing up in the press, and then finally when you got all the things set up and it creates like its own little stamp, you had to put it into the printing press, which was the size of this room. And it was this huge metal arm, and you'd pull it down, and it would print one card, and you print another card. And I was so proud of the 100 business cards I printed, and I think I actually got a decent grade on it. So it took the whole semester to do this thing, and I got these business cards, and I was giving them out. I thought I was a big shot. I thought I was the coolest guy of all time. I had my own business card at whatever I was, 13, 14, 15 years old. And I found one of the business cards the other day. I still have it, believe it or not. One card left. So if you want to hire me for shoveling your snow, I can't make it. I'm in Florida now. But back in New York days, I used to. How come no one shovels snow anymore, right, John?
Sure they do. Kids
No,
shovel
kids
snow.
don't go. They don't want to work anymore.
No, some of them do. Some of them do.
Yeah, not many.
Because it's very hazardous doing shit like that. You guy like me, I'd probably tear another hamstring.
No, well, you're 60 years old. But when we were your kids, not that you could go for 16 hours and you'd be fine. I remember.
And Larry, this kid Larry Shreb and me, we used to put the shovel over our shoulder. We had to walk the whole block up and down with the houses on both sides.
Yeah.
Banging on it. You want your walk shoveled? It was one price. You want your driveway shoveled? There was another price. Want your walk and your driveway shoveled?
Right. You're right. You're right.
It was a better deal, you know. So, and we used to clean up. We went up and down. We did almost every house.
Yeah, and you know what? You would never say no to someone. They'd come over. You know you had 3 more jobs left. You'd be like, all right, yeah, in an hour I'll be over there because I wouldn't want to lose the money.
The one neighbor, the Lamberts, they would spend the winter in Florida, and we would go shovel their driveway anyway. So it made it look like they were home.
Yeah.
And they would pay us when they came home in the spring.
That's awesome.
How many times did you shovel the driveway?
I'm telling you, my dad, later in his later years, it was almost impossible for him to find someone to shovel his driveway when it would snow. Couldn't get anyone.
Really?
He wanted to pay. He wanted to pay. He's like, no one would come up to the walk. I'm like, well, maybe they were afraid of you.
It's rare. I mean, it's definitely rare, but kids still do it. I mean, look, Dave, when we were kids, freaking kids were inventive and wanting to make money. I mean,
right.
We all had from paper routes to car wash businesses to snow shoveling, lawn mowing, yard work. We did all kinds of shit to make money.
Yeah.
None of these kids, so few. There are so few kids today that have that kind of ingenuity and fire in their belly to actually get out and do something and make some money.
And it's funny because a lot of people ask me. I did an interview show the other day with Chris Chanchuli, and he asked me, did you ever have what was give me some of your jobs growing up? I said I didn't have any. I never had a real job. But then I realized I had one job in a pet store one year. But then I realized that I found when I calculated on paper as a kid in my head, not on paper, in my head, I said if I work at Baskin Robbins and make $3 an hour, and I work 8 hours a day on the weekends, 2 weekends, I'm going to make 8 times 3. I'm going to make $50. They're going to take $10 in taxes. I'm going to come home with $40. I'm like, I could do I could shovel one walk, or rake one set of leaves in one neighbor's house, and I can make that in one hour. Yep. So I even back then I realized that I didn't want to be an hour to hour guy. I had to make big. I had too much time I had to spend doing other stuff, so I had to figure out what the best bang for my buck was. But I wasn't afraid to work. I just didn't want to do jobs where I felt like I was doing busy work.
No, I had the ultimate car wash business. I invented the mini detail. It was
really
it was $20. So it was like a hand wash, and I did the inside, and it took me 2 hours probably per car. But there was this fat farm upstate New York where my father was the shrink on staff, and I used to take me with him on Saturday, and I used to ask all the people that drove up from New York, you want your car detailed? I got the mini detail. It's $20. I used to do 2 or 3 a day on the weekend. I had more money in high school than any of my friends.
That's awesome. That's
washing cars.
And you were smart because it wasn't like a job where you were the boss essentially,
I hate working for people. I'm not. We always joked about Jeff the producer not being employable. I'm not employable either. At least I know.
Yeah. No, but you know what? You're employable doing things that you enjoy doing. You worked for muscle development for 20 years, 18 years. Because you were writing. That's what you enjoy doing.
Yeah, but I didn't have to go in and punch the clock every day like those poor slaves.
No, but you went into the office for a while when you were in New York.
Not according to Bleckman. According to Bleckman, I never went to the office, and that was one of the reasons why he fired us.
He said that about me too. Oh, by the way, I interviewed Melvin Anthony the other day. It'll go up this week, 2-parter. He confirmed that Sean Ray got us fired. So,
really?
Yeah. Absolute confirmation.
You got to tell me that story.
Yeah, I will.
It wasn't Ginsburg, the iceberg.
No, because he wouldn't listen to those guys. Sean Ray's a legend. Sean Ray schmoozed him over the course of probably a couple months, saying, I could save money. I'll take over the radio show. I'm a legend. So basically, Sean did us a favor, and he actually sunk MD long term. You know what I mean?
and he latched on to the bitter end. So we owe it to Sean then.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this.
Yeah, he put Bleckman out of business basically because of that.
He did. So we owe Sean one.
Yeah, we have to thank him for getting us fired. Yeah. So Tim Gardner's got this show coming up this weekend. He's doing it, and I gotta take my hat off to him because there's so many regulations and with the state of Florida and how they have to have how many people in the auditorium at one time and how there's no audience and most promoters would have canceled the show, but Tim and Jake Wood who's obviously behind the show as well who's sponsoring the whole show. They said, we're going to hold this show. They have every pro division and all the amateur divisions. It's got to be a logistical nightmare to hold this thing. And they're losing money on this because of all the prize money they got to give out. They're not making a lot of money on this show, but they're doing it because of the athletes, and because of it's the right thing to do. So when I see something like a selfless act like that, yeah, all right. So Tim might put a few bucks in his pocket. The guy has been working his whole, for the whole year for this show. But my point is, they're not making a lot of money. If anything, I think they're losing money on the show because of all the, like I said, the prize money for the pros. But they're putting it on, and you got to respect that, John.
Yeah, well, they could save a little bit of money by just mailing Hunter Labrada his trophy now.
He looks great, yeah.
Oh my God! Did you see that last picture he posted?
My question is, how did Hunter get so tall and so big when Lee was like his father was 5'6" and weighed 180 pounds on stage?
I have the answer to that. In fact, you can all hear the answer to that on Fitness Fame and Fortune with Lee Labrada, who is the next one I just uploaded.
Right.
Yeah, Labrada says that it's he got a great combination of genetics from his mother and from him.
Okay.
And the mother's obviously got the height and he's not that tall. He's what 5'9"? Hunter.
Well, I mean, but that's a lot taller than Lee is.
He's 5'9". He's 164 pounds and 264 pounds.
He's a big kid.
Fucking huge.
And he had a lot of injury issues the last year. So the fact that he came back and he looks as good as he did, and he's still, he's still growing. He's young still, so he's still in those growth years. So he's going to get bigger than he is now, and he's got obviously Lee's genetic structure, which is key because it's got the small waist, wide shoulders. I think his potential is unlimited. He's the first guy that I've seen in a long time where you can say, "Holy mackerel, this guy could be the future of bodybuilding." Because there really aren't that many young guys with that kind of potential. Sergio Oliva Jr. I think has a lot of potential, but he's not as young as Lee. He's in his 30s, already. Moving into his
Hunter's fairly young.
Yeah.
The interesting thing was that Lee is really coaching him, and I thought there was a really interesting part in the interview when Hunter wants to do the nationals, and Lee says, "Well, if you just want to win your weight class, you can do it, but." If you want to win the overall, you're not ready. You got to wait another year.
He really told him that, huh?
He told him that, and he did. He listened to him.
Yeah.
And look what happened.
Well, he didn't really. He hasn't done a lot of shows, So Lee made him wait. Lee must have said this kid's got great potential because you look at your kid and you want to believe your kid is the greatest thing since Swiss cheese, but he must have looked at him and said, I really know he's got potential to go far. So rather than just let him compete for the sake of having fun, because if my son says I want to compete and I don't think he has the genetic potential to go all the way, I'm going to say have fun with it, right? But Lee must have seen something special in Hunter, and he must have said, let's nurture this, and because there's no reason to rush it. He's going to be a champion no matter what, And I'm glad that Hunter listened, because definitely their strategy definitely paid off, right?
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is that this is the only father-son bodybuilding duo that are both IFBB pro bodybuilders and who are both still alive.
Right.
So Darren Charles' kid, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's still competing or what he's doing.
He's not a pro though. Yeah, he's not a pro.
He's not a pro. And Sergio, of course, his dad's no longer around. Other than that, there's nobody else.
Yeah.
On the pro stage. So Arnold's illegitimate son is probably going to become a great bodybuilder.
You think so?
I've seen pictures of him recently. He's got daddy's genes. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. And
are they pushing him towards that? I mean, I know he trains. He obviously got muscle. He's not that big. I don't know what his age is at this point. Maybe Arnold's nurturing him. I don't know. Is Arnold training him?
I don't know. I have no idea. But it would be interesting to find out. Cool to get him on the show.
Yeah, I'm sure George Farah probably called him up. Brother, I will make you Mr. Olympia. Stick with me. I make you Mr. Olympia. You know who should train him? Arnold should send his son to Samir. Let Samir train him.
Yeah,
that would be a great combination, right?
That would be awesome. Yeah, Samir's awesome, man.
Yeah, no, I love Samir. I just he's a character, but he's very passionate about bodybuilding, and he'd be a great mentor to Arnold's son there.
I think that's brilliant, Dave. I think
right?
they should do that.
It's like what's his name? Apollo Creed training Rocky, or Rocky training Apollo Creed's son, that kind of thing,
Yeah, that kind of thing. That would be kind of cool. But I think I have high hopes for Hunter this weekend. I mean, I think that he could just dominate the whole thing.
Right.
What do you think?
I think it's his show to lose at this point. Just looking at the lineup, not to take away anything from the other guys, because there's some other. Chris and I handicapped the whole show on Heavy Muscle Radio, but it's just his show to lose. I mean, given what his talent pool that he's bringing to that stage is, I think Patrick Moore is in that show. I believe.
There's another amazing bodybuilder.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick obviously is really good too. I don't know if Hunter is as good as him, but I think Hunter may be more complete than him in terms of filling out his frame. Hunter's got those crazy calves and hamstrings, and so I don't think he's as big structurally maybe as Patrick, but he's definitely I think he might be more complete.
Hunter Labrada looks better from the back than he does the front, especially in a back double bicep pose. He's just absolutely, totally complete.
He's also one of these guys, John, that you really can't capture statically as well. Like when you see a picture of him, he's impressive, but I think when he moves, like his father was like that. You would look at pictures of Lee and you'd say, all right, Lee looked good, but when you watched him on stage, he really came alive, his body, and I think that's why he beat a lot of guys that were bigger than him. And then you'd look at the pictures and say, how did Lee beat this guy? Well, you guys weren't there watching him pose, and right. His body, because he was so conditioned, and he knew how to move and stuff like that. And I talked with Melvin Anthony about this too. No one, and even I didn't have this. How many people really work with someone who teaches them the art of movement on stage?
Very few. I mean, there was that great scene in Pumping Iron when Arnold and Franco were going to the ballet teacher.
Right, but that was staged, though. You know what I mean? That was staged. Those guys practiced on their own.
They did that. They really did that.
Yeah, I thought they did it for the. I think George Butler say they did that just to kind of add some interesting scenes to Pumping Iron.
I think I remember when I interviewed George Butler and I asked him about that scene. He said that the reason he put it in is because Arnold told him that that's what they were doing, and that Butler thought that would be cool.
Yeah.
I may be wrong.
Possible.
That was many moons ago, Dave.
But Melvin said that John Brown, who was his mentor, would make him look. They would look and watch other bodybuilders like Sergio Oliva, the stage presence he had when he came out. How he turned on stage, and the movements he made. Mm-hmm. And, just a bevy of different bodybuilders they stole from, different things, Cormier and this one and that one. And it's interesting because the guys on the West Coast seem to pay more attention to posing and presentation. At least they did back in the 90s and 80s. On the East Coast, we focused on training. You know, I was like a training guru. I had guys like, you know, drilling me in the gym, making sure my form was perfect. I was pushing hard. And no one really focused as much on posing and presentation. So that was missing, I think. I had to teach myself that. It took me a long time to learn that because I'm a guy who learns by like watching and repetition. I don't just pick things up naturally. Once you show it to me and teach me the mechanism behind it, then I could kind of make it my own. And I think a lot of guys are like that. So people neglect that nowadays. I mean, Dillette was the perfect example of a guy who couldn't present a Mr. Olympia physique, you know. By the way, Melvin Anthony does the funniest impression of all time of Paul Dillette, trying to speak with asthma, you know?
Well, there's an element of rhythm, you know, present in Latino and African American athletes, some of them, bodybuilders. I mean, look at Kai Greene, look at Melvin Anthony.
Right.
I mean, you know, typically, you know, you got to have that kind of soul, you know, to get to move fluidly and transition well. And it makes a big difference, you know, guys that can dance versus guys who can't.
Right. But you know what? I some people have just natural ability, but Melvin said he was doing that pop and lock and stuff since he was a little kid. So he incorporated that into his routine because it was something that came natural to him. It was an entertainment aspect. Just like if you were, my wife Amanda was a gymnast. So when she would do her, you know, posing routine in her bodybuilding, she always did flips and stuff like that and did gymnastics moves because that was just in her nature. She'd been doing it for, you know, her whole childhood. So, you know, I always say sometimes the stuff that you do early in life, you don't even realize you're going to use later. Like who thought going to med school was going to help me with bodybuilding? But it was huge. I never would have been the guy I am in the industry today with the knowledge base I had I not gone to medical school. But if I wanted to be a bodybuilder from birth, you think I would have gone to medical school to get there? No, I never would have done it that way. So it happened perfect. You know, it was meant to be, obviously. And I went through that training and I used it for something else. But I had that skill set that no one else had because I spent, you know, 8 years in school, you know.
Melvin Anthony was, to this day, and I've seen everybody from Ron Love to Flex to you name it. I've seen everybody. I don't think I've ever been more wowed, even including Kai Greene. I don't think I have ever been more wowed by a posing routine than one of Melvin's.
Yeah.
You know, remember when he did the Terminator and then pop locked it and
yeah.
It was just amazing.
Maybe Tyler could pull up that footage because, you know, there was a show, one of the Arnold Classics, Melvin actually won a Best Poser Award, 10 grand over Kai Greene and Darren Charles. And he told that story on the interview about, you know, Kai went first. He posed first. And Dexter, you know, was a ball breaker. And Dexter was breaking Melvin's balls. He's like, I don't know if you're going to take out Kai Greene. He's the best, you know, he's the best, you know. Melvin was getting all angry and everything like that. And he's like, you know, Melvin's one of these guys. He's like, I wasn't one of these guys that just was in a tunnel backstage. I watched everyone because I wanted to find out what their weaknesses and strengths was so I could exploit them on stage. And when he watched Kai do his routine, you know, Kai went through some slow music and then he went into his crazy, you know, whatever, Michael Jackson routine. But then he ended with slow music. And Melvin said, you know what, I know I'm going to beat him now because you never end a routine. John Brown told me this. So you never end a routine on a low note. You always end it on a high note. And Melvin brought the house down and just destroyed, you know, everyone and won that Best Poser Award. But I think he's the best also because I think he's the most versatile. If I was holding a Broadway show, I'd hire Kai Greene. If I'm looking to entertain the masses, I hire Melvin.
Well, they're two different things. I mean, Melvin is a dancer. Kai actually knows. Kai tells each muscle to do something, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just the way that stuff just comes out, and you know, it's unbelievable. So I mean, but they're two different things. Melvin is an absolute master at incorporating, you know, street dance into posing, and it's phenomenal. Yeah. And it's unbelievable to watch. I wish to hate when his routines ended. I want him to keep going, you know?
I know.
Whereas Kai is he just shows you that he has control over every single muscle in the body.
Well, you know, Kai is there's an artistic expression of what Kai does in a sense, and there's always like a a theme to. Well, Melvin told me he does that too, but Kai is like, I don't know. He's like he's like the Picasso artist, whereas Melvin is the guy who draws the most amazing, beautiful, pictures, And Kai, you might have to like kind of really read into what he's doing a little bit more. Both are super entertaining in their own right, and that's why I love to watch both of them. Darren Charles, super entertaining. Fred Biggie Smalls, super entertaining. But when you talk about the best, you have to say, well, who can do it all? Melvin can do it all because he can execute the mandatories better than anyone as well, and he has control of his body. The problem is that you got to call Kai the better bodybuilder because I think Melvin could have been Mr. Olympia if he would have continued. I think he just didn't have the focus to go all the way. He
could just never get shredded. That was especially in his hams and his glutes.
He nailed it a few times though, which tells me that he was able to do it. I think he lost focus. He revealed to me, his relationships issues ruined his career. I think he just allowed them to like mess up his life in a sense. And I think that when you have any kind of clutter in your life or anything that's distracting you from the goal of bodybuilding, and we know bodybuilding is a very selfish sport. When you get distracted from that, you can't be the best. It's impossible.
Nope, you're right.
I mean, who are the guys who were the most focused? Probably Ronnie, Dorian, Jay. These guys were like, you couldn't move them. From their goal. They were so focused. Buildings could have been falling around them and they would not miss a workout or a meal. And I think that's why they were so consistently great,
I agree. And the focus and all of that, I think is completely another facet of it, as is the entertainment value. Right. And presentation is something that is really, really valuable to a bodybuilder. And a lot of guys just don't pay enough attention to it. Even practicing mandatories, they don't do it long enough.
Yeah. Well, I've been sending a lot of guys, my clients at least, and if anyone else listening out there, I've been sending them to Chris Cormier, and now I'm sending them to Melvin because these guys are doing Skype sessions or Zoom sessions or whatever, to help people out. And they're, look, if you pay a coach like me to do your diet, or you to do your diet, or you pay someone like Charles Glass to train you in the gym, now you got someone who you can pay online to learn how to pose. We didn't have that when I was competing. This is great. Chris Cormier, Melvin Anthony, wouldn't you want to get these guys to choreograph your routine and help you execute mandatories and stage presence? Man, I would be all over that. And I sent Zach Kahn, I do Zach Kahn's diet, and he's been looking great. I sent it to Chris Cormier because him and Paul Dillette might have been neck and neck for the worst poser, because, and he's gotten a ton better. Chris and him became friends actually just from them working together. And
I would love to see Zach Kahn come in on 100%.
He's right dead, John. I've been working with him for over a year now, and he's looking so good. If we can only find a show to have him show up at. They keep canceling every show in Europe. They just canceled that Alicante show in Spain.
Wow, it's good. Well, you got to wait till after November, and then everything.
Hungary has got a show. Evidently, Hungary's got the least amount of cases of COVID or something like that. Someone was telling me, one of my clients.
Very low, yeah.
So they have a show there. I forget what it's called. I don't know if there's a pro show. I know it's a pro qualifier. So they're holding. That's definitely on. And it's tough. If Zach came over here, he might not even be able to compete. Like I wanted him to do Tampa, but with the quarantines and all kinds of craziness, and there's no flights.
Yeah, they gotta stay in a hotel for 2 weeks when they get here, and then at their own expense.
And who polices that? Do they have guys that are hired to police the quarantines?
This whole thing is a circus. It's the most ridiculous thing run ever. But anyway, listen, you're gonna have to continue without me with Mr. G because we started late and it's not the regular day, and I have an
man. All right, where is Mr. G? There he is.
Right here. He's right below me, and I think it's a great opportunity for you and him to talk about the nuts and bolts of the cookie business while, I have to go and remind you all to make sure you watch Fitness, Fame, and Fortune. Listen to Fitness, Fame, and Fortune iTunes, YouTube, Spotify. It's everywhere.
Who did that logo?
Nick at Gaspari Nutrition, the graphic guy. He's amazing.
He drew that arm?
Yeah, he did. He did that whole thing. He's got a tattoo. He's got the dragon tattoo.
Yeah,
on
it's
it
great. I love it.
Dragon Slayer Media.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Excellent.
I'm glad I was able to spend this much time with you. Anyway.
All right. Well, yeah. It's all Tyler's fault. Blame him because he's got to go to Minnesota or something like that.
Well, you got as much as me as you could have had.
If you're gonna go anywhere, Minnesota. Think about that. That's like
Yeah, Minnesota was, or even better, Montana, the other end.
You're probably safe. Is there any cases of COVID in Minnesota?
That's where Ilian Omar is from, Minnesota. I'm not going there.
All right, John, go do your thing. Mr. G and I'll talk about.
Mr. G, bye, Tyler. See you. Have a good show.
So what's going on, George? Is he frozen? I got to talk to myself.
I see him breathing.
George, you there? Mr. G, stop smiling. Talk.
Look at that ceiling. It looks really good.
Yeah, I don't think he hears us.
No,
I don't think he hears us.
I don't think he hears a thing.
I'm going to do some sign language.
He looks happy though.
He's writing me notes now. We're going to... What did he write?
No, it's not.
No, we can't hear you. I don't think he can hear us either.
I don't think anything's on.
I wonder if you would from using Zoom if you have to. Hey, there we go. Mr. G got his audio back, and I got a co-host here who was going to sit in for Mr. G, but this is baby Shayla. Shayla, say hi to everyone. Nope, she's not interested.
Hey, Shayla. Hey, Dave. It's ironic that you brought your daughter on because I'm starting a kids show next week.
Oh, really? What is it called?
Yeah. It's I don't want to let the name out yet, but I'm gonna come on as a character, and I want to teach kids about health and fitness.
Good.
Mind, body, and soul. No politics, no, none of that stuff.
Right.
And once a week, go in there, teach the kids how to make their start their day by making their beds, listen to their parents, eat protein, all positive things that I've learned my whole life because I worked in the surf camps. I mean, that's when I'm like a big kid, I used to.
Well,
I used to dress up. What?
Well, I know you used to dress up as characters, but you know what? I find that no one teaches kids how to eat properly. And you know what? Even in the schools, I never had a single lesson in my health classes or gym about how to eat. Have you? Did you ever receive any advice on how to eat or what kind of foods you should be choosing from? Nope. They showed you the food pyramid, and that was it.
Because you're getting someone that learns something out of a book, and someone who necessarily isn't into they could just be a health teacher because that was what they went for, and at the time that was the only job they could get at the school. Doesn't mean it was their passion.
But they wonder why kids are overweight nowadays, and they wonder why there's obesity in this country, and they wonder why even adults have type 2 diabetes because. I blame the schools. That should be this should be part of the curriculum of how to eat properly, okay, how to avoid getting type 2 diabetes, how to avoid getting coronary heart disease. There's some simple things that could be added to the curriculum. It's like eating essential fatty acids, taking, fish oil supplements, using the right cooking oils, avoiding, sugary, carbohydrates. The adding fiber to your diet, and this is not like we're not talking about a technical bodybuilding diet to get on the Olympia stage. We're talking about just general health recommendations.
So basically, what I want to teach them is how every meal should have a form of protein in it. Every meal you should put thought into what you put in. When you watch TV, you're gonna try. I'm gonna watch this cartoon or that. You put thought into when you're going to go and call one of your friends. But what about putting thought into what you're going to eat? Because that's the most important thing. And adults don't know. They just don't know. And it has to be, in order to get the kids to listen, you have to be a character. Like you have to be some type of.
I agree. My kids watch all these YouTube channels, Blippi, and Blippi acts like the old Pee Wee Herman did. You have Ryan from Ryan's Toys. You know, they have the whole family does goofy stuff in
Right,
there.
so
But they teach.
I'm going to be.
They actually teach you what to do, and you know, I think it's a
Yeah,
great
the kids
idea.
listen.
Right,
Hey.
Shayla?
Dave, when I was doing the surf camps, we were teaching the kids how to overcome their fear. You know, and it wasn't really, surfing was just a backdrop. We were really teaching kids life skills.
Right.
Maybe 1 out of 1,000 kids would surf, you know, for the rest of his life. But basically, all the kids were learning how to overcome their fears of shyness,
Right.
of being scared. You know, so I would, if a kid was scared of the waves, I would put the Hulk mask on, and I would tell the kid, "Listen, Hulk smash wave. Hulk when Hulk gets scared, you get mad." You know,
Right.
so I'd have the kid walk out right with the. I go, "Okay, turn into Hulk. Okay, all right, smash wave." You know, and then before you know it, the kid was walking out there, right?
Right.
So I used to, my friends. I used to come dressed as the Hulk with the Hulk mask. So one morning at 7 in the morning before the camp starts, the parents come there, drop the kids off. My friend pulls up. He walks on the beach, and I'm standing there talking to 25 mothers with the Hulk mask on, and they're all shaking their heads as if.
But that's the way kids learn. My son's into werewolves now. That's, you know, anything the werewolf says, he'll listen to. So if the werewolf says eat the Jumbo Light cookies because they got high protein in them and, you know, less sugar and they have better ingredients, then he's going to eat that. You know what I mean? And I think if they could associate characters that they relate to with giving them advice, I think it's a great idea for you to do that, you know, as a channel, you know.
I've been doing. Look, it comes natural to me. When I was at the camps, it's just like I would do all this stuff with the kids. You know, so for example, with a shy kid, the parents used to. This is the only camp where parents were allowed actually to come into the camp. You know, usually any camp, the parents can't come. They leave the kids. They drop the kids off and they go.
Right.
So the problem is when a parent's in a camp, they try to intercede in the lesson. So we used to have to talk to parents before. Listen, your son Johnny or Jane is going to learn a lesson on his own. You can't be out with him in the real world, so you can't be there when someone pushes him or he doesn't take his turn or he doesn't speak up. Let him learn on his own, not when you want. So if your kid's cold, doesn't want to go in, don't stand behind him and push him in. You're teaching him the wrong thing.
Right.
You know, we know a kid didn't get 3 waves. You know.
Right. Well, you know what? It's like the old coach. I was talking to a guy. I don't even remember who I was interviewing. He was telling me, you know, how he coaches kids. I think it was Andy Hammond. Yeah. He was.
Oh, Andy, yeah. He's a big kid himself.
Well, I'm saying, but he was coaching kids, and he would have to tell the parents, "Look, I'm the coach. I'll be the bad guy. I'll tell your son when he's not doing well. You just tell him he's great and you love him. That's it. Let me be. Don't you yell at your kid. I don't want to hear you jumping off the stands in the sideline, screaming at you. You say yes, go, son. I will be the bad guy because I'm the coach." And he's right, because you can't have 14 coaches yelling from the sidelines, you know, because the kids don't want to hear from their parents. They just want to hear encouragement from their parents. Let the coach. That's why the coach is there, to be the guy who's going to, you know, put his foot down when he's got to be hard, and is going to, you know, pat you on the back when you did a great job.
So we started talking to the parents, you know, like in the morning we'd have a group meeting with all the kids. We'd sit down, we'd talk about, you know, okay, gratitude. You know, what do you have gratitude for today? And then the kids would say, and then we show them the ocean conditions.
Right.
And then I would talk to the parents and tell them, listen, this is like a play. We're putting on your kids are putting on a play. They're putting on a performance. Sit back and enjoy it. You know, you can't run up on the stage if the kid forgot his line.
Right.
You know? Right. Let him forget his line. What I did with shy kids, how I got a shy kid to talk, right? So we'd have a half hour on the beach, and a half hour in the water, right?
Right.
So once the kids get out, we all go in a big circle, right? We all clap. All right. Great job, awesome job. Everybody did a great job. Pat yourself on the back. Pat the other person on the back. Awesome job, right? I go, all right, now let's tell me about your awesome way, right? And I would just grab the shyest kid.
Yeah.
Put him in the corner. Okay, what's your name? You know, Johnny. Okay, everybody give it up for Johnny. Woohoo, Johnny. All right. Johnny, tell me about your awesome SpongeBob, Squidward, Patrick, fantastic, unbelievable wave you got, you know?
Yeah.
And the kid would just, and then we all clapping, and before you know it, he got used, you know.
Right.
He got used to that.
Confident. He became confident. Yeah.
It's the only way to do it. We know what kids pick on other kids.
Yeah.
We know what kids don't do that. So anyway, so basically the character is going to be a werewolf, a pirate werewolf.
Oh, well, perfect. My son will definitely watch that.
I know, he gave me the idea, but it can't just be a regular werewolf. He's going to be a pirate werewolf. Woo! I had the name, but it got X'd out by my partners coming up with a name. So,
all right.
So yeah, I'm going to be a character, and then as we go along, I'd like to have different guests on there in different sports and stuff like that, you know, as we move forward. And I'm going to do it on Instagram.
Yeah, that's a great idea. By the way, I want to just send out a get well soon. Jimmy the Bull is in the emergency room with multiple kidney stones. I got a text message from his friend, and he's in a lot of pain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So, and Greg obviously couldn't make the show this week.
Today or
right
the last
now,
couple
as
days?
as we speak, he's in there. Yeah.
But it must have been over the last couple, because I called him 3 days ago.
When the kidney stone hits, George, it's supposedly, you know, Charlie Arms is one of the toughest guys I know. And he said, Dave, he goes, there's no greater pain. He goes, you can drill my teeth all day long. There's no greater pain than a kidney stone. He goes, it was the closest I've ever come to crying. He goes, I never cry. He's like, so that's how much pain Charlie was in. He goes, I needed morphine. He goes, usually I don't ever take pain meds. I don't even take Novocaine at the dentist. But he goes, man, he said that was the most brutal pain of all time. So I can imagine Jimmy's a tough guy, but you know, kidney stones are no joke.
No, I mean nobody knows what the pain is until they experience it themselves.
Yeah.
You know, you have no idea.
I think kidney stones are God's way of punishing men for not having bearing children, having the pain of childbirth. You know.
Don't women get kidney stones too?
No, I know, I'm kidding, but it seems like guys are always suffering with kidney stones way more than women. I don't know why. I think that's a cruel joke that the big guy up there played on us.
We have a smaller area for that stone to pass.
That's right. That's it. You know, I always tell people, you know, there's no real cure for kidney stones, but a lot of times it is an over-acidification of the body. So if you use more apple cider vinegar and you eat your more green stuff, you know, you're going to have a less likely of a chance of getting that acidic buildup.
Just greens or particular greens, like
you can do a green drink, but I'm saying you could also just by eating more green vegetables in your diet. I mean, that's a very alkalinizing type of food. You know, I eat a lot of kale.
Lettuce.
I eat raw kale. Let me tell you, I eat raw kale every day, especially when it's in season.
I know.
For me, I love lettuce and everything like that, but I take my macadamia nut oil from Species Nutrition.
Yeah.
I put it on the kale with salt and pepper. That's it. I mix it in. You could cut up some tomatoes if you want to put in there, whatever. I put some green and red peppers in there. It's the most delicious salad because kale has a crunch to it. It's a different different mouthfeel than lettuce. And I'm telling you, I feel like I'm cheating almost. I feel like I'm eating like carbs when I eat that kale salad.
Well, they're grinding it up now. Now I saw this because I used to cook it, and everyone would go freak out because when you cook kale, it smells so bad.
Oh, it's terrible smell. Yeah, you don't need it. Do it raw. It's unbelievable raw.
They grind it up now. They grind it. It's really. I've seen it really ground up. You know, almost emulsified. So this way, it'd be good in a powder. Like
they have kale powder, but they also make those kale chips also where you could bake kale and you could put stuff on top of it. Different a lot of people, we used to bake the pieces of kale. I'd put them in the oven with like paprika on it or different seasonings. Actually, you could use the Mr. Pot.
The kale chips,
you could use the Mr. Pot seasoning. So you got.
Yeah, you can't get rid of. So you can't boil that stuff because if you boil the kale, then aren't you boiling all the stuff out of it?
You probably are, yeah, but I'm just saying in general, raw greens are way better than cooked greens in terms of the alkalinization on your body and the neutralization of acidity. Also, you want to make sure you take a really good chelated calcium supplement, because calcium is what your body uses to neutralize acidity in the body, So You know, a lot of people don't take a chelated calcium supplement. You know, V Mineralized, you know, for my company that I make, you know, we have all chelated minerals, which are minerals that are bound to amino acids, essentially make them more absorbable.
Yeah, so if you're going to do it, but for kids, see, the issue with kids is it has to be something they can add into
But
their
kids
food.
don't get kidney stones. You know why? Because their bodies can neutralize acidity way better than adults can. That's why you don't see kidney stones in young people. It's all older people.
No,
get it.
you want to start. You want to start a kid. You want to look. You want to start someone off on good on what you do as a kid. You're going to do as an adult. You want to start them off young.
I try to have my kids always try to get protein at every meal, not just eat junk food. I don't mind if I don't mind if my kids eat junk food, and I thought I was going to have a problem with that, but I said, you know what, kids are kids, they burn it off, but I try to make sure they get enough protein. I'd rather them eat your Mr. Potts protein cookies, because I'd rather them eat the Legendary Foods Pop-Tarts that are loaded with protein. I'd rather them eat a Greek yogurt with protein in it than eating just pure crap, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly why we made our products. So this way, everyone will like the flavor and still get in what they need, you know, in a small package. So we used to have our stuff. We sold our chips in schools. They were in schools.
Yeah, I think I don't know why they didn't catch on. I think it's a very competitive market, but the chips were unbelievable that you made.
The reason why it didn't. No one knew the product. In other words, remember when you started out Species and we went around, you went around the whole country, and every show we went to, we gave out you gave out samples. You gave out samples, and people tried it and stuff like that. And you had other types of bodybuilders on it. You created a brand.
Right.
If you have to have a brand. It takes years to build up a brand. You know.
Right. But you know what the problem is? The problem is it's very hard to start.
I was in Rumston. We were selling in Rumston, Fairhaven, which is one of the schools, about 8 schools here.
You flipped your camera, George. It's the wrong direction now. I know you're a little cockeyed, but this is ridiculous, you know.
No, you know what? I got a call. I'm going to come back in.
You're right. You're good. Good. You're good. Oh, George. Unless it's the president, can you hang up? If it's Trump, get him on the call.
Hold on.
We're so unprofessional on this show, but that people almost expect it on After Hours. You know, they expect the non-professionalism. Anyway, Greg was supposed to be on the show today too, but I screwed everyone up because Tyler, you know, could only come in on today, and tomorrow's a busy day, so we moved the show to Monday, so everyone's schedule was messed up. So I appreciate John even changing his schedule for us. Greg, we'll see you back next week. Jimmy, we're praying for you. Get past those kidney stones. And George, when am I getting my cookies?
I sent them already.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. So I should be getting them any day.
Yeah, wait. Hey, can you see me?
Yeah, I see you. You're fine. Did you send out the winner's cookies?
Dave, are we still live?
He sounds like my crazy uncle who wears the lampshade at all the parties.
Are we on the show or what?
And he gets drunk. Yeah, you're on the show, George.
All right. We sent them to Friday or Thursday.
Okay, good. So I should have maybe today then. That's great.
Yeah, I'm trying to fulfill all the orders of the people who put in orders. I mean, I know you want me to do that first.
Send out the orders for the people who paid you first, because that's important. Those are your customers.
Yeah, I don't want. Look, it's now that we're on the show. You know, we're putting our faces of our business up on front. You know, most business owners don't do that. You know.
Right.
So I got to make sure that they all get. But you got yours. You're coming. You got oatmeal creams and Oreo creams.
I can't wait. I will showcase them on Ask Dave this week when I film tomorrow. So hopefully I'll have them by then.
You're gonna love them. And remember, I also have the people from the contest. I'm sending out samples of them too.
That's what I was going to ask you, when those are going out. But you know what? I want to say one thing. When I eat a product, look, I don't really eat a lot of sugar. You know, I'm like an anti-sugar guy. But and the cookies have some sugar in them. But when I eat your cookies, number one, they don't bother my stomach. Number two, I don't get like my brain doesn't get like foggy from them because you know why? Because they have a lot of protein in them and high quality protein, and they have very good fats. You use, very expensive fat sources in there. Omega-3 eggs. You use the mac oil. So that's why I think because when I went to Italy, okay, and I was, I had to eat the authentic food there, and they were making me homemade this, homemade that. Their desserts didn't bother my stomach either because it was all homemade ingredients. And I think that has a lot to do with it. I think a lot of the sensitivities that at least I have and other people have to a lot of these junk foods that they sell in the supermarket is not necessarily the sugar per se. It's all the artificial preservatives and crap that they put in there to preserve the stuff, or all the stuff they use in place of the expensive ingredients to substitute. That's what bothers people. And I think that's the unhealthy stuff. So I'd rather my son eat like your cookies than say Oreos, for instance.
Well, that's a good testament, because that's what when I made it, I was thinking that's what I was thinking. But as far as the science goes, unless people have to try it, and like yourself, you have a dairy. You're sensitive to dairy, correct?
Yeah, very, very sensitive to lactose.
All right, so you're really a good indicator, I guess, if you don't get diarrhea.
Exactly. So anyway, all right, we're out of time here, George. You know what? I just wanted to get an update from you. Thanks for joining us and helping to educate as you always do and motivate. I think we always try to send a very positive message, especially in these trying times.
I got one great story. If you let me.
All right, sure, tell your story.
I know a lot of you guys are out there, with the times, everything. May have lost your jobs, and may think everything's over, but it's never over. And I'm going to tell you a story about someone that everybody may know. He's a pro bodybuilder. He hasn't competed for a while, but his name is Kai Greene. In 2007, Kai Greene hadn't competed, like 10 years, Dave?
Well, I think he was competing every year, just he wasn't doing well.
Yeah, nobody knew it. So, and that's when I've been out of the sport for like 15 years, and then Dave hired us, and we're working with Dave with MD to launch the MD Online. So 2007, we're at the New York Pro. We're at the New York Pro show, and we're at the prejudging, and we're backstage, and I see this guy doing parallel dips on a bench, and I'm like, I see his triceps, like the freakiest triceps I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, Dave, who's that guy? Who the hell is that guy? Oh, Dave goes, of course, you go like, oh yeah, that's Kai Greene. He hasn't been around a while. What? So I go over and start talking to him. I introduce myself, and he goes, yeah, my name's Kai Greene, blah, blah, blah. And then he shows me a book. Every single pose that he does, he actually draws out. He had like 30 different pages of all different poses drawn out. So anyway, fast forward to the night show, right? The night show, he comes out and he does a pose routine. He brings down that, it's like Michael Jackson with muscles. It's like, holy mackerel, this is insane. What the sport needs is this entertainment, right?
Right.
So after the show is over, I'm outside, it's pouring rain. We're at the Tribeca Performing Arts College in Manhattan. We're outside. We're standing against the building, and there's about a 1 foot overhang. It's pouring rain, like pouring rain. I'm standing there, leaning against the building. Kai Greene is there, and Colette is there, right? So we're talking, and Kai goes, listen. He goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because all he did was he won a $500 check.
Yeah, for best pose, yeah.
He goes, I spent all my money, everything. I put everything on this whole show. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? Don't know what you're going to do. Of course, you know me. I mean, that's why God probably. Are you kidding me? You're the greatest thing that this sport has ever had. Colette, call Dave on the phone right now, right? Yeah. She called you. You were standing next to Blackman, right?
Yeah.
You got to sign. Remember, at the time, we were signing guys up for contracts to be exclusive for online, right? So Blackman gets on the phone, gives him a contract, tells him he'll give him a supplement contract, and then Monday, come to his office and he'll sign all the papers. And then of course, he had no money. So then you told me I handed him a $100 bill, and the rest is history. You see that? Here's a guy that you all know that was at the end of his rope. But guess what? He didn't quit.
Did you give him $100? I didn't know that.
Swear to God, yeah.
I believe it. You throw money out like it's nothing. Yeah, you're like.
What's it, Dave? We're there to help people. I wanted to see the guy. The guy's a great guy, great for the sport. What did it matter?
Right.
And look what he did.
No, that was very generous to you. No, because a lot of people wouldn't have done that. So I mean, Kai really he owes it all to you, his whole career, basically.
No. The point of the story
How I
is
Saved
that
Kai Greene. There's the episode title.
He was at the end of his rope,
right?
And he didn't give up. But he said he was at the end of the rope, and he asked for help.
Right.
That was his way of asking for help.
Right. That's
he
your
just
message.
threw it out in the universe. So I'm telling all of those people, everyone out there, don't be afraid to let your guard down and say, I need help. We all need help. Look at Kai Greene. He didn't know me. He knew, but he had this big giant bodybuilder, not afraid to ask for help.
That's
now look what he does. You know how many millions of kids that he helps on his podcast? Not bodybuilding people, just regular everyday people see his story and get motivated by it. So
no, it's a good story. I didn't realize you gave him. I knew you gave him a pep talk. I didn't know and I know you asked me to ask Blackman to give him something, but that's great. I love that story, and it is a very good message. If you do need help, sometimes you got to ask, and it's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't show weakness. It just shows that you need to reach out to another human being, for a helping hand. And he had all the tools. He just needed a little push, and that little push pushed him over the edge, and look, he went on to become a great star. Not because of you or me or anyone else, but because he was a star anyway. He just needed a little push in the right direction. That's all.
Sure.
So, good story, and that's a great way to end on a nice positive note. I want to once again send out best wishes to Jimmy the Bull for a quick recovery with the kidney stones. George.
Come on, Jimmy. Let's go, Big Jimmy. Come on. I know, Dave, you hurt his feelings last time, but that's all right.
No, he calls me after every show. We have like a therapy session, him and I, after every show.
He's like a real Rocky. He's like a Rocky.
Yeah, you can't
knock him down. If you want to know who Rocky is, that's him.
You can knock him down, but you not knock him out. Yeah, he'll get up again.
His heart is so big, man.
Yeah, we love him. That's why we love him. All right, for all you guys out there, I hope you have a positive day. And remember the message of the show. If you need help, ask. I'm Dave Palumbo. For Mr. G, John Romano, Jimmy the Bull in the hospital, Greg Valentino will be back next week, and our producer Tyler Shore. We'll see you next week.
Woohoo! RxMuscle, baby, that's it. Woo! Get up every morning, make